I showed up. I didn't have a rigging bag. I didn't have spurs. I didn't have anything. I just showed up. Dad thought it was a provide all, and they said, "Oh, you don't have anything. That's fine. We'll take care of you." And by the way, the bareback class is full, but we got an opening in the steer ride. And you want to try that? And I said, "Sure."
Living life, living right. If you want to ride with me, better hold on tight. All right. Gas is calling for wild rides. The forecast is calling for wild rides. It might be sunny and blue skies, but the forecast is calling for wild rides.
Hi, I'm Terry Dvorak with Charbonneau Car Center, and I'd like to thank you for watching this episode of Wild Rides.
I grew up Lee Summit, Raymore area up by Kansas City. My dad was a millwright, worked 4:30 to 6 o'clock every day, but always made time, to make sure when he got off work, did everything a kid normally would, play catch. We always lived on a little bit of acreage. But great life growing up, played all the sports, had the neighbors. We always had kids over, sleeping over, so not really a Western background, and I never really got into the cowboy role till a little bit later as a 10-year-old. So where we are now in the Ozarks, you start getting down in, a lot of the lakes and the caves and the rolling hills. It was still pretty up a little further north up by Kansas City, but, rural. We had, enough land. I had a four-wheeler. I ripped around and went over the handlebars numerous times and hurt myself. So I kind of always had that adrenaline bug, but, it was nice. I was never in a neighborhood or city atmosphere. The closest I got to the cowboy world when I was little is my grandpa. He had about 70 head of cows, and my dad on my 9th birthday got me a Welsh mountain pony named Wendy. She was like 23 years old, and first time I got on her, she just broke in two, just slammed me harder than heck, knocked all the air out of me. And Dad was like, "Oh crap, what'd I do?" So I wanted to get right back on her, and I did, and loped a few laps on her, and danged if she didn't do it again, and piled me up one more time. And she was just a cranky old thing, and I'd keep getting on her, and we finally, I guess, came to an agreement, and she was a great horse for me up until Dad took me to the American Royal, which was a big event in Kansas City, the pro rodeo. And from all that getting bucked off by Wendy, I thought, I wanted to be a bareback rider. So that's originally kind of where it started, is, riding bucking horses. So we went over to the trade show after the event and signed up for a rodeo school. And it was out in Kansas. It was called the Homestead Bronc Shop. And Jeff Collins, an old bareback rider, was the coach there. And we signed up, and they said, "Oh yeah, come on out." And I showed up. I didn't have a rigging bag. I didn't have spurs. I didn't have anything. I just showed up. Dad thought it was a provide all, and they said, "Oh, you don't have anything. That's fine. We'll take care of you." And by the way, the bareback class is full, but we got an opening in the steer ride. And you want to try that? And I said, "Sure." And there was a kid there named Seth Rice, and we're still friends to this day. He said, "I'm actually in the bareback riding, but I got my steer riding bag. You can use all this stuff." So I did it, and I probably got on 12 steers in 3 days. Didn't ride one past the gate, but muddy and sore and tired, but craving more. After I left this steer riding camp for 3 days, I had a foundation. It went from knowing absolutely nothing to now having like an idea of what I need to do. So next step, we found a guy that had a bunch of roping steers, and he'd rope every Wednesday night and, sometimes Fridays, a couple times a week. And we got with him, and this guy built him a makeshift chute. And as soon as I got done roping the steers, we'd run him in there, and I'd burn up the rest of the daylight riding all his roping steers until I figured it out. And it took me a while. Like, it didn't come really easy to me. Probably got on 35 steers or something, and it kept progressing slowly, and I was figuring it out. And then after the first one I rode, I was like, it clicked. And then after that, we entered my first youth rodeo. It was about 2 hours from where we are now, and I drew this big old white flathorn steer named Casper. And I remember it clear as a day, and he just really kind of jump kicked down the pin. I was 75. I won the first show I entered, and I won $350 because back then there was 25, 30 steer riders, so the pot got pretty big. So I won $350. I said, I'm never gonna see another poor day. This is where it's at. It kind of just started snowballing from there, and started having some more success. I ended up third in the steer riding in the association that year, and then from 11 to 13, I won the year-end steer riding every year up until that. And then I started getting on junior bulls at 14. But in that time period, I never really lost my desire to try bareback riding. So I rode bareback horses for 3 of those youth rodeo years and went after an all-around. And me and Will Lowe are the same age, so we were going back and forth. He beat me in the bareback. But yeah, it's kind of fun. Every time I run into him, we talk about those old youth rodeo days. Tough walks up looking at his sheet, and he looks up at me and he does a double take because, I was maybe 130 pounds soaking wet.
Greatness is not born, it is achieved. Forged in tradition, driven to excellence. It's about passion. It's about pride. Never settling for anything but our very best. Each buckle is the ultimate symbol of achievement, crafted with pride for the athletes talented enough to earn them. Every buckle has a story.
Hey, put on your Justin boots and come ride with us on the Cowboy Channel, Wild Rides.
Big Boy Toys.
Montana Peterbilt is your first choice for new, medium, and heavy-duty trucks. With locations in Billings, Missoula, and Columbia Falls, we offer a large inventory of parts, 50 bays for truck and body repair, and Peterbilt's full line of state-of-the-art trucks. But by far the best thing we have to offer is our people, dedicated to providing you with transportation solutions. Montana Peterbilt, committed to building long-term relationships through consistent and unsurpassed customer service.
from there, I win this 350. I think I got it figured out, and at the time you're a little kid, but it gave me just like a confidence boost. Like as soon as you ride your first one, you figure out you can do it, especially when you win. So from there, it's just I was completely ate up with it. I had some buddies that lived in the Normal area, so we just sleep, eat, and breathe it constantly. I mean, we made bucking barrels. We had so many contraptions that we could figure out how to try to make buck. We were little. We had a neighbor with a big goat, and we harassed it and got on it, and anything we could get on. We were just, from that point on, ate up with it. That part of my life, it was Rodeo Video Magazine. We got a subscription, and it was, Reed Flake, Bob Tallman talking Rodeo Video Magazine. I watched bareback riding, and then fast forward to the bull riding. And then it was BRO. So I got this tape that they put out, Awesome Bull Rides. It just had little sections on Jim, Tough, all the guys, and then the final part of it was a bunch of BROs, because that was the new big thing. So wore that out, watched it every single day. Awesome Bull Rides, just constantly, every single day, for sure. So that was the stuff I was getting in. So, and then just meeting those guys, Kansas City, the BRO would come through Kansas City, and I, like any kid, I snuck down there behind the chutes and got to meet all those guys, and they were really good to me. And it was, that era. It's different eras for each one, but my guys that I looked up to, Gaffney, Jim Sharp, Tough, Ty, all those guys. The one guy that I really stuck on and tried to Gaffney. I loved Michael Gaffney at that time. He was the one that I always went back to and kind of emulated. I don't know. It's just, I thought he had a really fluid riding style, and then when they put a mic in his face, he always had really good interviews. He could talk well. He always wore like flashy shirts. Always had a nice cowboy hat, and like just a good guy to kind of style riding after. So he was pretty hot back then too, and continued to be for a while. It happened so fast for me that I went from the amateur bull riding to, I was still a senior in high school when I went to Vegas. So it happened so fast for me that the first couple of years, I never even realized that I was one of those guys now. It just really happened so dang fast. So, but yeah, I always tried because I was the youngest guy on tour at that time. I had some success out of the gate, so they were putting the mic in front of my face a lot. So I definitely drew from some of that, from what I saw those guys, how they handled it, instead of just, that yes, no, one word answers and trying to, I could just relay back to what I saw those guys. They were giving educated answers, and they were actually talking to the interviewer. They weren't staring in the camera and blank staring. So yeah, G-Man was always pretty good about that. Right before I went pro, I went to this amateur bull riding, and there was a guy that Terry Williams used to buy a bunch of bulls from and incorporate them into the PBR, and they'd kind of mix strings and everything. But I got on this huge brindle in the short round. His name was Lickety Split, and I was like 17, and he really bucked, and he was making a lot of guys nervous, and he was about ready to go to the big show. And I got on him, and I ended up riding him, and he really bucked his tail off. And I was 94 on him, which was probably loading me a little bit, but he was the boss hog at the youth rodeo, or the amateur bull riding. So when I rode him and I knew that the next week he was going to the PBR, I felt like I was ready to make the step. And then shortly after I did jump up to the PBR, and what kind of solidified it for the PBR for me is I went to Tuff Hedeman's Fort Worth challenge, the big one he put on at the stockyards, and I drew a 99 Hollywood, which was a big bull. I watched him when I was little. I watched guys get on him and absolutely get wrecked out, and some guys rode him and he was really mean. And I knew I had him since Wednesday, so I got to sweat it for all those days, and I'm in the locker room, and I was gunner that night, first guy out of the chute, big wooden chutes. I had 99 Hollywood, and Tuff walks up looking at his sheet, and he looks up at me and he does a double take because I was maybe 130 pounds soaking wet and just looked like I shouldn't even be driving a car or anything. And he looked at me like the last time he'd ever seen me. And I don't know if I was just too darn scared to fall off or whatever, but I put it on him and rode Hollywood, and we were 93 points. And right then I knew if I could ride him, because to me he was like Godzilla, you know, he was the scary one that I'd watch. So I was like, man, I just rode Hollywood. I said, it's all smooth sailing now. This arena, I mean, it was it had chicken wire fences up and down the side. And the buck and shoots were actually pretty good, but they just throw up some pretty iffy deals for some of these. So I had him. He was really big, really mean, huge horns. And I was just getting down on him. So bull ropes, when you put a bull rope on them, you judge how big they are by the knot you tie in your rope. So I actually had to take my bells off my rope and put it on the body of the rope because my loop was so small that they'd be up on the side of my leg. So I got down on him, and you know, I can still remember because he'd kind of bang his head. He wouldn't buck in there, but he had such big horns that he'd just rattle them off those metal buck and shoots, and you could hear it all the way across the end of the arena. So I always just got in, got out of there, and he turned back right there to the left away from my hand. And about the third jump, you know, you kind of know just as a bull rider, if you got a good seat. And I did. I just felt solid as a rock, got him stuck. And everybody's going off so loud I never heard the whistle blow, so I just kept going and jumped off, and he lined me out, and I was running. He just gave up on me, right, because I was going right for the chicken wire fence. If I jumped on it, it was just kind of fold. So he finally gave up on me and turned off. But I threw my hat, and it was a heck of a night. Hollywood, like I said, he was so mean. He threw me up in the air. Brett Hoffman, he used to be our, like, Keith Ryan Cartwright. He was like the interviewer guy. And they used to set up in the crow's nest. And I went to get off on my feet, and he scooped me up, and he threw me straight up. That I was like, Craig Hoffman said he was looking me right in the eyes. And I came down, I landed on my feet, and he chased me all the way up the wooden alley. And I got away from him, but tough. He comes over and slaps me right in the middle of the back about as hard as he could. And, you know, I was so fired up to have him do that. You know, he went from looking at me like it was the last time he's going to see me to now he's like, man, this kid, I guess he's all right. So I went back in the locker room after that, and I'm thinking all these guys, all my heroes are in there, and they're just kind of, you know, hose me down with all the free Bud Light they had in there. And just, I was 93 on Hollywood, so I was like, man, this is going to be awesome. I came in there, and they're just going about their business, not even looking at me, just really quiet. And then I was like, oh shoot, I hung my rope up, and then, you know, here comes Adriano and Aaron Seamus and all these guys. They're just hooping and hollering, so just razzing me a bit. When I got out there, everything was brighter. Everything just felt like this is what I've been looking forward to my whole life.
As a leader in ag lending, Dakota Community Bank and Trust is a passionate supporter of rodeo. In our 80-year history, we have sponsored countless rodeos, barrel races, and numerous other events surrounding equine and livestock. With nearly 200 saddle sponsorships alone, we believe we have a proven track record of working diligently alongside the rodeo and ag communities, a track record we would like to continue for the next 80 years. Dakota Community Bank and Trust, proud sponsor of rodeo, ranching, cowboys, and the Cowboy Way.
Tracker Off-Road, built for the most adventurous riders. For making the hard jobs easy. For the love of fishing. For the passion of hunting. For exploring the outdoors. A breakthrough American value. The 700 EPS starting at $78.99 plus freight. And the 800 SX starting at $11,599 plus freight. Tracker Off-Road, built for the love of country.
Charbonneau Car Center provides a low-pressure sales experience with great customer service and a variety of models to choose from. We can put you in the vehicle that fits your lifestyle. No gimmicks, no games. Charbonneau Car Center, great service, great savings. Buick. Experience the new Buick.
Nestled in Big Country sits a 35,000 square foot majestic building, home to the well-known Western Ranch Supply in Billings, Montana. Western Ranch offers everything needed to be a modern rancher, from animal health, fencing, livestock equipment, to tack and saddles. We also added a large clothing selection for men, women, and children, and carry pet supplies, automotive, and hardware. We're a one-stop shop providing a unique shopping experience. Visit us today at Western Ranch Supply or shop online at westernranchsupply.com.
It can go either way in that scenario. You can be overwhelmed or you can just feel at home. And for me, luckily, it was, the latter, because when I got out there, everything was brighter. Everything it just felt like this is what I've been looking forward to my whole life. So I was very, very confident going into my first finals, just because, I used to send PBR office VHS tapes trying to let me get into the PBR earlier, just make an exception, like, see, I'm ready. And Jay, when I got inducted in the Ring of Honor, he collaborated that story and said, this kid, you send me all these tapes. I'm just like, stop, you have to be 18. So I was just barely 18. Well, I just turned 19, when I got out to Vegas. I had a birthday right before then. So I just felt like I'd arrived. So first bull out, he jumped out there. He's supposed to really buck, and he just kind of had an off trip. I was 75 points, and I could have kept my score or a re-ride. I didn't hesitate, won a re-ride. Got on C'est La Vie at Don Kish's. I was 90, and I took second in the round. And then it just started snowballing, and that year it was between me and Paulo Crimber, so who's a great buddy, and he was a great rider. But then you started getting just like any sports, the Brazilian flag started coming out and the American flag started coming out. So it was that year, it came down to the wire. I was the last guy out because I came in the short round, winning the average. Paulo rode his bull hanging off the side, incredible ride. Like, should have bucked off, and he hung on. So right then and there, I had to stay on to win it. So it was like, bases loaded. If you can pull it off, it's all yours. And I had Clayton's pet and his bull. Stars couldn't align better, because that was kind of the bull I wanted. I was so cocky at that time in a good way, but I was wanting Dillinger, and Chris had rode him for like 96. I ended up drawing Clayton's pet, so it was between those two, and I got him rode. It was crazy. I got a video of it, and about halfway through the ride, you can just see the whole stadium just stands up, and jumped off, landed on my feet, and that's when Ty and Ross and Cody Custer and everybody, they came out and hat whipped me, and they're like, and they never really say this to me throughout. I had a pretty good season that year, and they never say anything, but after I won that, then Ty came out and he's like, he hit me in the chest. He said, now you made it. My career was a lot of highs and lows. It started out with about the biggest high you can possibly have. First 3 years really good, and there was a spot where I thought I could have done a lot better. I struggle with some minor, like, I've always been the guy known, I don't make excuses. It's just, you always look back and wish you could have done more. It doesn't matter what you do in your career. You always wish, I could have done this and maybe done a little better. So I had a resurgence in the later part where it's almost I found a new love for it. Parts of me subconsciously, the travel will wear on you, gets a little monotonous, and it becomes kind of a job. Still had a complete love for the game. I always said if I didn't love the bull riding part, I'd step away, but I just found a whole new love for it. As you get older, your body changes too. You have to dedicate more to it and switch up your routine. So I was happy that I finished my career the way I started it, still showing up, being a contender, that it could happen at any moment. not like there's no way he's gonna win. He could do it, you know.
Driving by the moon, picking on a fender, got it tuned up, give it something to remember. We're living life, living right. If you wanna ride with me, you better hold on tight. Driving by the moon, picking on a fender, got it tuned up, give it something to remember.